Do 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 do. What's going on, guys? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Let's see if we are live. Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. Can you guys hear me? Trying this live stream out right now. We are trying to see if we are live. We are not live. Or are we live? Do 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 do. Let's see if we are live. We are live. Awesome. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Bokehs, episode number 4. Let me know if the video is okay. I think I froze. The video freeze, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is it going out there? Is the video going, guys? How's it looking? Hopefully this is good. My first time trying this live stream out for the first time. Abel in Vegas, you are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Bokehs Podcast, episode number 4. And I'm trying this live, so for the first time. Our good. Peter, what's going on? Hopefully this is good, guys. Today we're talking about concert photography, okay? There's a lot of things to think about to prepare if you're getting ready for concert photography. All right? Good but too dark. Is it? All right, we'll adjust that next time. Yeah, it's live, Vic. What's going on? So, concert photography. I got a comment last night. I think it was from Hawaii. Hawaii 1011 or 100 left me a comment. Talk about concert photography. Well, today we're talking about concert photography. This whole episode is going to be tips and tricks concert photography. All right? Concerts. Cool. That's good. So, hey, guys, trying this out for the first time. How does the mic sound? How's the microphone level, the sound? Let me know if this is good. No lasers at the concert. Yeah, make sure there are no lasers at the concert. That's a good tip. Yeah, those kill the sensors. If you're unlucky, that can destroy your camera. So, Abel, good tip. So, if you want to do concert photography, there's a lot of things involved. I made a list here of things that comes to my mind for photographers to prepare for doing this thing. Okay. So I've shot many shows. I love rock and roll. I love photography. So that's the best combination. Video, audio, all good. Perfect. Thank you, Vic. Sound is perfect. Thank you, Peter. Okay. Hey, Nick Andrews Gaming. Okay, here we go. The first thing, number 1, the first thing you should think about is know the venue. We're going to get into gear. We're going to get into what I use and tips and techniques that I use later on. But right now, we are going over what you should prepare beforehand. Know the venue. That's number 1. The setup. Okay? Know the venue, the setup. It helps if you've shot there before, if you've actually been there before as a guest. If you know the venue, the capacity, the stage, how big it is. That's number 1. Okay, number 2. What's your access? Where will you be? Why are you there? Do you have full access? Do you have Are you there as a fan trying to take pictures? Are you there for the band? Are you there for news outlets? Why are you there? And what's your access level? Do you have full access backstage, on the stage, or in the crowd? That's one thing to know beforehand so you know what to expect. Okay? Access is very important because that can lead to great images. A lot of times we're there. Sometimes we're there as fans and we take a nice camera to these smaller venues. But if you have full access, that's even better. Why are you there? Okay, so make sure you have the passes, everything ready to go in case somebody hassles you, security, you know what to do. Okay, so number three is know the music. That helps. Know the music. If you know the band that you'll be covering, it helps to know the music because somebody's soloing and you want to capture the solos, you want to capture the key moments that the guitar player is doing the solo or the singer has this awesome part. You want to know the music as best as you can. What I do is if I'm not familiar with the band or artist, I usually listen to it a couple of days in advance just to get used to what's going on there. And so know the music as best as you can. It helps, trust me. Especially when you're doing video. Photography, you can kind of cheat your way through it, but still, it's good to know the music. But when you're doing video, the biggest complaint I get is how come you didn't capture the solo part, or where's this part? You don't know the music. You're not a fan or whatever. So know the music. The next tip I want to give you guys: watch out for fans. When you're in the crowd, always be nice to them. You know, it's dark usually in the crowd, dark, the lights, everything's on the stage, and it's darker in the crowd. So watch your equipment doesn't bang up against somebody's arm or somebody's head. There's been times where I've actually nailed somebody in the head with my 70 to 200, and it wasn't such a nice thing. They got upset, and I had to apologize. And just watch for the fans. They're rowdy. They're there to have a good time. They're excited. You might get you might get pushed around, right? I'm currently walking home, so I will have your live podcast in the background on my earphones until I get home. Awesome, Nick Andrews. Thanks. I am also listening to the band's music days before and even days the day of. Yeah, that's smart. Just watch out for fans, guys. You don't want to get into an altercation with a fan that'll throw you off. That will throw this whole thing off. You don't want to get into a fight. Just be cautious. Some fans are rude. Some fans are like you'll be blocking some fans sometimes, and they don't like that. How many times do they push you out or they talk nasty, hey, move or something like that. So just watch out. Be nice. If there's a fan that you're blocking their view of sight, kindly move somewhere else or be mindful of those kind of things because they're there. They paid their hard-earned money, and they want to see a good show. They don't want the photographer to mess things up for them. So that's all I'm saying. Watch out for the fans. It's wise to discuss the night before your contact. Who's your contact here? Are you with the band? Again, are you with a publication? Are you covering for the venue? Why are you there? Discuss with your contact person all the little details beforehand. Is it a 3-song set list for photographers and then you guys scram? Are you there for the whole night? Discuss all the little details with your contact. Have a contact there if you're hired to shoot this gig. Usually if you're there for the band, that's not a problem. You have full access, and usually the manager will go over all the details with you. So discuss the night before all the little details, okay? Again, this has nothing to do with gear. This has nothing to do with cameras. This has to do with the setup, the itinerary, the schedule, where you're going to be, what your duties are, what they want from you, and of course, payment. Don't forget about that. I also listen to the band's music days before. Yeah. Let's see. Obviously, don't drink, don't do drugs. Okay, that's rule. That's a big rule that you should. You're there to capture, guys. Yeah, you're there to have fun. I know that some music gets better as you have like a shift, head change, and with alcohol, yeah, let's have a glass of wine, let's smoke a joint, whatever. Yeah, but you want to stay away from that when you're shooting, guys. You're there, especially if you're going to get paid. If you're hired hand, if you're a hired photographer, you don't want to do drugs. You don't want to drink. That throws you off. That throws you off big time. Okay, these are all common sense things, but I'm just giving you some tips and pointers. Okay, wear earplugs. Right, earplugs very important, guys. Protect your hearing because man, how many times you leave the venue and your head is pounding or you're hearing ringing when you're sleeping at night after the show. Wear earplugs. I always have earplugs in my camera bag, wedding photography, and I always have earplugs. So wear earplugs, very important. So is the stream still good, guys? And is the sound still good? Let me know. Your gear setup. How will you be shooting this? Okay, you have different options now. Are you one of those photographers that likes to have everything on you during the show? Do you have a double strap where you can strap two bodies on at all times with two lenses? Do you have a lens belt where you can just switch lenses? How will you be shooting the show? Do you have a bag? Will you have a bag? Where will you put the bag? Is it a backpack? Be mindful of all these details because some backpacks get huge. A lot of photographers want to keep everything on their person. They don't want to, especially at shows, guys, things get stolen. So be careful. You put your bag somewhere and it's gone the next second. So is everything on your person? Is everything your backpack? And if you're wearing a backpack, watch out for the fans behind you. You can knock someone out with that big bag. That's not pleasant. So, or do you have two cameras on you? So be prepared for your setup. What is your setup? Okay, what's going on with your setup? Beautiful. Keep going. Strong. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Peter. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about gear. Let's talk about gear because I'll tell you what I do during concerts and where I could come into some trouble. Usually, venues, you're relying on their lighting system. If it's a killer venue, they have their shit down. They have their stuff down pat. Their lighting setup is enough light for you to rock and roll your pictures. Some venues are cheaper, they don't have good light, it's dark. But a lot of times, I say 8 out of 10 gigs that I've shot, the lighting was enough for me to shoot, and I didn't have any issues with that. That being said, glass. I tend to shoot with glass that's 2.8 or faster at gigs. F4 is not going to work for me. Lenses that are f4 and below, variable aperture lenses at concerts are really not going to work for me. Okay. Yes, the modern cameras have great low light, but still, you want your images to be clean. There's a lot of dark shadow areas when you're shooting. You want to eliminate any kind of noise, any kind of really high ISO shooting. I mean, I don't really tend to shoot above 3200 ISO. What about you guys? What about you guys? Like, I don't really like to go above that, and I like to keep it at, 3.2, 2.8, and above when shooting all the time. because it's dark. You want fast glass. Now, I'm not saying go out and buy the 85 $3,000 1.2, but you can buy the 85 1.8, which is fast glass. It won't cost you a lot of money. There's also the newer 1.4s that are available. There's the older G lenses, and if you're using Canon, they all have fast glass that are affordable these days. You want to pack light. You don't want to carry around a big monster lens that's going to be heavy during the show. Yeah, f4 can work at larger venues, especially if you're doing wide shots. But if I'm shooting, the biggest glass that I take in my bag at concerts, and again, depending on where I'm shooting, but mostly it's a 7200, and I don't need more than that. I'm not in the crowd. I'm not 10 rows back, usually. I'm not 20 rows back. I'm not 50 rows back. I'm usually shooting in the pit or off to the side. We'll get to all that. But 7200 is my lens. 200 millimeter is probably the most that I need when shooting. And again, that depends on where you are, where will you be sitting, or in this case standing, but what access you have. But usually I take a 7200, an 85 millimeter. I take a 14 to 24 with me for the wide stadium shots, for the wide crowd shots. I like to have you know, I take that back because I shot with the 24 to 120, and that's a great lens for concert, and that is an f4. So the 24 to 120 is a good lens to keep. You get the wide shots and you get semi zoom with that. So yeah, that's a good lens to carry around. So it's usually a 24 to 70 or 24 to 120, which is a better option. 14 millimeter or 16 or 14 to 24. If you have a fisheye lens for effects, that's small, it's light, doesn't take much up space in your bag. That's a good lens to carry around for effect shots, cool effects. You can really do some cool stuff with the fisheye. So I know that if you're a Nikon shooter, the 16 millimeter D 2.8 fisheye lens is a great lens to carry around. Shooting DSLR, it's autofocus. If you're shooting mirrorless, it doesn't take much to manual focus that thing. If you're feet away from the guitar player, you can do some really cool effect shots with the fisheye. King Kruk, I do concert photography with the Raptor XZ. Is that video? Oh, Raptor XZ. Which one is that? But I rock 2.9 on my Nikons, 1.2 and 1.4 on the Olympus EM1X. Let's see, 6400 ISO sometimes, and I go black and white to give a rustic look from the film days. Nice. Nice. You know what I do though? I don't really mess with all that when I'm shooting. I just like to shoot raw, right? And then in post, you can pretty much do, work your focus bokehs in post. What's up, Z Wade Photo? What's going on, brother? Good to have you in here. For everyone to be in here. I like first live stream in a while, right? Focus Bokehs. How you liking this new podcast, guys? Is live better or pre-recorded? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's see. Where were we? Gear. Yeah. Okay. So 24 to 120 f4, fisheye lens, an 85. Something faster than a 2.8. 85. 1.8 is a great lens to carry around. I wouldn't take the 1.2. You don't need it. And a 7200. That's basically what I take with me. 7200. I mean, anything more than a 200 millimeter. I mean, what do you guys think? Will you take a 300 millimeter lens to a concert? A 400 millimeter? I mean, it depends. Is it a stadium where you need to be real far away? I wouldn't take that glass with me. No, 7200 is the max I would go. And I shoot most of my cropped music, guitar photos with the 7200. So Let's see. Be mindful of ISO and fast glass. Fast glass and ISO, okay? You're not going to use strobes, although there was times where I had the ability to set up my strobes. I was shooting at the Roxy one night for a band, and I got access to set up some strobes on stage. And let me tell you something. Hey, drunk wedding photographer, what's going on? Oh yeah, Z-Wade. Let's go, baby. Let's rock and roll. Vic Romaine says you got to get Z-Wade on here. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll, buddy. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I got access to set up strobes with triggers. And let me tell you something, man. I got some killer shots that night. When the strobe hits the smoke, it's just a different effect. Okay, you can control what light you want, and that's so amazing. It's such an advantage to have strobes with little pocket wizards set up on stage. What a big difference, guys. What a big difference. Okay, so but a lot of times you're not going to have your lighting. It's just you're just going to rely on stage lighting. So ISO, fast glass, and gear. Okay. Other than that, I don't take flashes with me. I don't take any tripods with me. I don't take any monopods with me. I'm not doing video. I like to have my double strap on. I like to have both my bodies on me. And if I need to change a lens really quick, I can just change it right away. I have my 7200 on all the time. That thing doesn't get switched out. I switch out my wider lenses and my mid-range lenses on one body, but I leave the 7200 on all the time on the second body. So safety shots first, and then swing for the fences. Kind of like wedding photography. Like if you're doing portrait photography, I like to do the safety traditional pictures first. You know, your traditional guitar player pose, your singer. And then when I captured all that, then I start looking for weird, obscure angles. Okay? Musicians' heads through an instrument, reflections, having the guitar player or the bass player in the foreground out of focus and having the singer in focus. Those are little techniques that you can do, these little artistic shots that you can, take after you've done the traditional shots. I want the safety shots first. I want the shots that the band is looking for or the venue is looking for. I want those in the can first. And then I do these artistic things, reflections through instruments, members of the band out of focus, in focus, in the foreground, in the background. Drummers can be very tough to photograph. Drummers can be very tough to photograph because drummers are elevated usually. They have instruments, cymbals, everything in front of them. Let your contact person know that I can't get a shot of Lars Ulrich because he's so high up. I need access behind the kit. If you get access behind the kit, man. If you need to bribe some of these security guards with the gear that you have, like, look, man, I have expensive gear. I need access. Try that. If it doesn't work, then I don't know. But drummers can be a challenge, okay, to photograph. So safety shots first, then swing for the fences. I shoot RAW and I shoot JPEG, both. I have the RAW and the JPEG. I shoot JPEG only because if I want fast access, fast broadcast, if I need to transfer files from my phone, my camera to my iPhone just to transmit something out really fast. Let's say the promoter needs a shot right now. I shoot JPEG. I transfer it from, if you have Nikon, the Nikon software, real fast to the phone, and then I just text message or whatever, email. Hey Vahagan, good to see you live. The back in the day, 2 or 3 years ago. How time flies. Yeah, what's up, Phil? Andre, what's going on, buddy? Let's see. You forgot to mention resale value yesterday. Oh, well, we know that. I know, right? Are you joking with me? Because I really harp on resale value with the third-party lenses. If you need 400 at a concert, you're not working. You're an audience member. Exactly, Z-Wade. Exactly. Is this live or is it Memorex? Yeah. Drummers, pains in the ass. No, liar. They don't have outrageous amounts of gear to haul in either. Yeah. Last thing you want to do is get nailed with a drumstick or something. Don't get too close to the drummer. They get pissed off. I know I play the drums. Don't get too close to the drummer if you have access behind the kit. You don't want to get nailed with the stick. You don't want to get nailed with the cymbal. You don't want to get nailed with the drum or the snare. Be careful, okay? You don't want to get hurt here. What is your setup for videography in concerts? I don't really do videography for concerts. I just do it for fun. If I switch it to video and just do video, I just do stills. So yeah. All right. So where were we? RAW and JPEG. That's why I shoot RAW and JPEG. Combination of shots. Now, depending on how much time you have here with the show, okay, take a combination of shots. Make sure you get each member with their instrument doing crazy things. Crop body shot, 7200, a wide shot. Don't crop their legs off all the time. Take a combination of cropped photographs, head to about navel with their axe. The axe is the guitar. Don't never crop the instrument, okay? Unless you're doing like a really close-up shot of the musician, you want that facial expression, and you're going for that artistic shot. Other than that, don't crop the axe. Don't crop the guitar. Take head to navel, and then go for a full body head to toe, and then do some wide shots with the other band members. Take a combination of pictures. Go back up, do some audience shots with your wide angle lens, interaction, get some audience crazy shots with the audience, do a stadium shot with everyone. Fisheye is a great lens to use for this. 14 to 24, 14 to 30. Get the whole venue with the stage, and be mindful of your highlights when you're shooting this. Like, always expose for the stage. Always expose for the stage, and get it right in camera, guys. Don't rely on Lightroom or Post to fix highlights, shadows. Get it the best you can on camera, raw, so you have more leeway of editing. But always expose for the stage. Do not burn that stage. You want detail. I'd rather bring up the shadows of the audience later on, have them dark, but expose for the stage lights and the stage. Oh man, I've got nailed in the back of the head with the broken stick. It's not fun. Yeah, you don't want to get nailed with instruments, trust me. And you don't want to have musicians pissed off at you. They remember this and they will say, that photographer that always got in my way. I don't want that guy. Let's hire someone else. Hello, Albert. What's going on, brother? So, hello to everybody, by the way. If I miss somebody, hello, everybody. So what are we doing? A combination of shots, crowd shots, close-ups, key moments. Okay? Don't miss the key moments. If they have props, back in the day, I wish I grew up in these days, but back in the day where the bands that I love growing up, they would have these key moments that they would light themselves on fire, do something, capture that key moment. What's the key moment for the band? Do they have like a motorcycle coming in, or do they have some kind of pyrotechnic or fire or some crazy prop or piano rolling in the stage? Capture those key moments. Crowd interaction with the band. Always capture all that. You never know when you're going to need that. So, yeah. Usually when I'm shooting guitar players, bass players, singers, I like to shoot vertical, obviously. I mean, the only time I'd shoot horizontal if I'm capturing the stage. And drummers. Drummers, full stage, and two or three group members in one scene is horizontal. Vertical is usually guitar players and singers. I already mentioned don't chop off the instrument. Only if you're going for the artistic kind of thing. Let's see. Watch your cropping. Focus points. Let's talk about focus points because the cameras these days do a good job following the member in concerts. They do a really good job following where you want to be in focus. Traditional shots, obviously, you just want to get the member, you want to get the musician sharp. You want to get their face sharp. I tend not to focus on the instrument. Sometimes the instrument, a lot of times, it's in front of the musician. You don't want to set your focus point on the guitar. You want to set your focus point on their eyes, on their face. And especially when you're doing 7200. Now, the cameras do a really good job with finding focus. If you're using the R1 or Z9, Z8, Z6, they all do a good job. What I do is I don't let the camera really figure everything out itself. What I do is I set up a box right around where I'm shooting, and in that area, AF, it finds the eye. So it follows the eye. If you're shooting mirrorless, if you're shooting DSLR, I use single AF, single area AF, and I just manually do it with my finger. Sometimes I have to focus, lock, and recompose. When I'm doing DSLR, I don't mind doing that. I'm used to it. So focus on the face, lock, recompose, because you have a limited set of focus points on a DSLR. And I don't mind that. I'm used to that with portrait photography. So, but it's a lot more chaotic here. It's a lot craziness going on during a concert. It's not a wedding. It's not a portrait shoot. This is a concert. A lot of things going on. So that's the way I set up my focus point. DSLR, I use single focus point where I control. If I'm doing a mirrorless camera that has very good focus tracking, I set it up on the area box. So usually it's a large area AF, and it finds it around there, around where I want to be. Just in case in key moments the focus point doesn't jump to the guitar or something like that. You want to avoid that. Don't spray and pray unless it's a jumping moment or it's something crazy that you want to get every second, every split second. But I don't usually spray and pray. Who wants to go through all those images? If I know that the lead singer is going to be jumping from the drum riser, then I'd go for 20 frames per second, and I want to capture that whole sequence. What about modes? I hear aperture priority or auto ISO is the way to go when lighting is all over the place. Yeah, exactly. Good question, Phil. Good question. Auto ISO. These modern cameras do a really good job at auto ISO. You're not shooting video, so it doesn't matter. Auto ISO works great if your lighting is all over the place, like Phil said. And you can set your cap on your camera where it doesn't exceed, let's say, 6400 ISO. You don't want, I don't shoot, I don't really shoot 3200 or above. I like to keep it low as possible because the lower your ISO, the cleaner your image. Oh, yeah, but the new cameras have great quality. Still, guys, you give me the best camera right now. I shoot that thing at 12,000 ISO, and then I shoot that thing at base ISO, and you tell me which file looks cleaner. You tell me which file looks better. And I like to keep it as low as possible. That's why I say use fast glass if you can. I like to shoot on manual mode, but you can shoot aperture priority. I like to control the camera. It doesn't take you a second. I mean, it's all about muscle memory and getting used to where you want to be. You shoot a couple of these concerts, then you get used to it. I shoot on manual mode the majority of the time. Is there a chance of your sensor being fried by a laser? I've heard that it could happen sometimes. It could happen. It hasn't happened to me. I guess I've gotten lucky. I've shot a lot of shots where lasers were pointed directly towards my lens, but it can happen. I don't know. Are the new lights that they produce now better for cameras? I'm not sure. Be careful of that though. You never want to shoot where if you see a laser coming at you in your sight, then don't shoot at that moment. you know, you can pretty much tell with your face, with your eyes, seeing that the laser is direct hitting your face. Avoid that. Avoid shooting at that moment. So there's a lot going on. I know, guys. Let's see. Combination of shots. So solos, vertical. Let's see what we're talking about. Focus points. The best advice I could give you guys right now is have fun. Make sure you're having fun, guys. If you're not having fun, well, sometimes, if you're shooting, like let's say you're into rock concerts and you're shooting rap. If you're not into rap, just think about the paycheck. Think about the paycheck and you'll get over that. You'll start having fun. Now, just have fun. I mean, you're gonna run into drunk people, high people, out of control, crazy people. Hey, mother effer, what are you doing here? Don't point that thing at me, or get away, get away. If you're doing heavy metal and they're moshing in the pit, and things get crazy, you get a foot in the back of your head. Just watch out for all that. Just watch out for all that. Let's see. When you're done with the gig, always make sure to review your shots. Review your shots and see what you could have done better. And make note that this is at the Roxy, this is at the Whiskey, this is at the Troubadour, whatever venue there is. Make note at all the little props that you have at these little venues. Because next time when you go in there, you'll have a better idea of where to stand, where to shoot. Shooting at the pit level is fun, where you have, your traditional pictures of musicians. But then if you're shooting the whole show, you have time to kind of experiment and walk around. Side shots are where it's at for me. I like the side angle. I like going to the side of the stage, getting some dimension, between musicians. So you get that out of focus areas, the bass player out of focus, the drummer out of focus. Try to experiment with your angles. Walk around. I know it's kind of tough. There's a lot of people there. It's hot, drunk people, but just walk around. See what angles you can take. You necessarily don't want to be stuck in one area and just taking the same shots over and over again, because they get repetitive. I mean, in still photography, no one knows what song they're playing. So, right? No one knows what song they're playing. The 3-in-1 lens from Tamron, 12, 2.8 would be great for concerts. The f2 to 2.8. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just speaking of what I use, what I take right now. You can experiment. I mean, there's lenses that you use that I don't use. But that's basically what I take. But thanks, Peter, for that. 35 to 150. Great. That's a great zoom lens. 2 to 2.8. Yeah, that thing is expensive, right? Long Rider, what's going on, bro? Greg Wilson, Nature Photography. What's up? I'm late as usual. Don't worry about it. This is... no set time for this live stream. This is just episode 4 of Focus Bokehs. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, angles. Experiment with the angles, guys, because when you shoot from the side, you get better angles, you get more interesting pictures, and it's an all-around better experience. You don't want to always shoot the same things over and over. If you have limited access, that's one thing, right? But try to experiment with different angles. Venture off on your own little shot, because chances are all these other photographers are getting the same shot you are. You want to distinguish your shots from the other guys. And there's a lot of competition, which I'll get into at the end. Photographers. So, social media is very important, guys. Post, share with the band. If no one's you can take the most killer shots that night. But if no one's looking at your pictures, then what's the point? Share this with the venue, share this with the band. If you're there for fun and no one knows you're there, if the band doesn't know you're there, and we got a professional photographer in the house, share these images out, guys. You will get gigs right away, too. Don't wait till next week to share the concert from a week ago. No one cares anymore. Share the shots out right away with the band, emails, promoters, venues, managers, you name it. Get all their socials, tag them, and post these pictures. There's no reason why you should wait a couple of days. If you waited one day, you're too late. Share them out the same night if you can, a couple of shots. Very important. Very important. All right. And I hope you enjoyed your run and walk, Nick. Long rider. So branding also, for branding purposes, if you want to share and get your name, your profession, what you do known to these promoters because they'll remember you. So branding is key. Have a cool business name and a catchy name. If it's your own name, it's fine. So one thing I want to share with you guys is, and this is very, very important, okay? This is probably the most important advice I could give photographers, especially if you're new. Competition at these events, if you're not there with the band, if you're there for publication or journalistic purposes, it's real cutthroat. Okay, these photographers that are there, the other photographers that are there sharing space with you, they're not your friends. Okay, they might sound friendly, they might shoot the shit with you, but when it's game time, they're not your friends. They'll jock you out of position. They will try to throw you off your game. They want the shot. They don't want you to get the shot. They want the shot. Don't start socializing and talking about gear and look at my camera. Don't start showing off. They don't like that because a lot of times these working professionals they're using older gear, because they're working professionals. They can't afford the Z9. They can't afford that expensive gear. I'm telling you guys, this one guy, he's a very well-known photographer. And he does all these crazy big acts. He's still shooting with Sigma and an old DSLR. He's a well-known photographer and he was shooting with old gear. So don't show off that, hey, look at my new flashy Z9 or look at my brand new, 85 1.2. Look how great. They don't like that kind of stuff. They look at you as just somebody that's just there showing off gear, and they're not your friends. Don't brag about your stuff. Don't brag about you've done this, you've done that. Try to be cordial, friendly, but when it's game time, they're not your friends. I'm telling you, they won't give up that spot for you. I'm not saying all the time, but if it's a crowded house, they want the shot. Okay? They're there. If they don't get the shot, they don't eat. So be mindful of that if you're there for photojournalistic purposes. It's very, very important, okay? So, yeah, I mean, just have fun and know the music. And you guys have any other questions for me? Regarding concert photography, and this concept can be used for if you're doing like these ideas and these tips and tricks can be used in other types of photography, not necessarily rock concerts. If you're doing like long weddings or if you're doing rehearsals or even sports photography, so these photographers are not your friends. Okay, always be mindful of that. So always have a bite to eat before the show. You don't want to shoot hungry. It gets annoying. You start getting headaches, and have a snack or two in your bag. But there's been a lot of instances where never have a bag that you leave somewhere at a venue. Okay, always have that bag. Use a backpack. Use a backpack and lock the zipper. Have a little lock there because that stuff is behind you. Sometimes it's loud and there's a lot of things going on, and you necessarily won't hear somebody unzipping your bag and stealing your lens. So have a little lock going on in the back. What happens if you have an accident or fall down or something? Do you get fired? Well, first of all, Phil, it depends. I mean, how hurt are you? I mean, are you hurt? Do you need to go to the hospital? Just be careful. Chances are, I don't know, if you didn't get the shots, they're worried that you're not going to sue them. The venue's worried you're not going to get sued. So that's the least of their worries. I mean, that's the least of your worries getting fired. I mean, you should just make sure you're okay and your equipment's fine, but things happen. Things happen. Have insurance, of course. That's very important to have insurance. So, what camera bodies are you guys usually shooting with these days for these type of photography? Like, what's your guys' main camera bodies these days? Are you shooting mirrorless, DSLR? What are you shooting with, guys? Let me know. Where are we at with the time? Let's see. I've seen photographers who have had some crazy falls. Yeah. Anything can happen, guys. So, sure, the shots are important, but watch what's in front of you. Never trample anybody. Never cut somebody off. Never cut somebody off. Never be mindful of fans, because fans. Hey, we got Mike Savoya in the house, and Mike is actually an expert concert photographer. Hey, Mike, are you shooting Journey at Yamava Theater in San Bernardino? I was just there for Dream Theater, bro. But I know Journey's gonna play there, and Mike is the official photographer of Journey. So everyone say hello to Mike. Hi, Mike. Z8 and ZF, great combination. That's why I ask. So they played there already. Oh, they played there already. Okay, because I saw the banner. I was there and I saw Journey live at the Yamava. How'd you like that venue? The last concert I went to, I used a DSLR before I got my Z50. I think my next one will be around May, and I want to try out how well my Z50 does there. Interesting. How was your shots with the Z50 APS-C camera, Nick? And what lenses are you using with that thing? I love Mike's stories. Oh yeah, Mike is legit, man. This guy's friends with every band out there, and he has fun, and you can tell, man. He's an amazing guy, man. You're an amazing guy, brother. If a photographer's trying to tell you to move, be courteous too, right, Mike? You got to be courteous at concerts. Like, don't hog up the space. Like, let me give you a situation, Mike, and tell me if you would do this same thing. Okay, if I know I have dibs on space, okay, if I know I was there first, and I got my shot for the song, do you you let the other photographer kind of have his shot, let him know that hey, you can have my position, but then when you're done shooting, move so I can take back my position where I stand. Like, let me know how that works out for you guys, because Curdy, you know, be courteous and be friendly. I hate it when I let somebody shoot. You kind of move and then they hog up that position the whole show. Like, don't you hate when that happens? Like, they think they're there at a concert where if they're front row, they're front row forever. Fans do that all the time, and that's okay. But if you're a photographer and you let somebody have your position for a song or two, they just stay there the whole night. Like, what do you do then, Mike? Because it gets kind of weird, right? Like, hey man, move. Let me. This was my spot. Yeah, me and wife shot them Sunday. It was awesome, theater, but hard with no pit. So most long lenses or on knees in aisles. Yeah, it's a clean theater, no, right, guys? Like the seats, it's a very classy theater. That's why they don't really like stand up and yell and things like that. When I shot Dream Theater, not shot, when I went to the concert, I half the time everybody was sitting down enjoying the show. I am considering of getting the D750 again some day before they are gone forever. I love the DR on that camera. Oh, the D750 is a great camera. The dynamic range on the D4. I love the dynamic range on my older DSLR, especially the D4 was great. I love that sensor. That's true. That happens at portrait photo meetups. Some photographers are very selfish and steal your spot. They're right. They don't move, man. It's like you gotta kind of tell them, "Hey, what's up, bro? Like, at least let me get the shot." Give all kinds of attitudes and stuff. Man, these guys are so cutthroat. Like some of these guys are been there and done that around the block, and they'll just spin you in their pinky finger and throw you out. Like they know exactly what to tell you. And then some of these guys, they always complain about their work and how bad it is and how low the pay is, and just to throw you, just to get you out of there. It happens to every sales position I can think of. When I used to work in the car business, salesmen used to do this all the time. Salesmen would like tell you all this negative stuff just for you not to sell cars, for you to get angry and quit. So photographers do the same thing sometimes. Yeah. When I used to shoot fashion shows, I quickly found that the photographers with the oldest gear were typically the better shooters, while the shooters with the most recent equipment were the amateurs. Yeah, I mean, look, we got a guy like Mike Savoya, right? He's a constant professional tour band photographer. He's got all the latest gear. But, like, for example, when I met the Guns N' Roses photographer, Asian guy, I forget his name. You know his name, right? I was talking to him. He was shooting with the Canon and the Sigma lens, a DSLR. I think it was a 5D Mark III or something like that. So, let's see. Yes, get us D750 because when the banding issues happen at certain shows with Z9 Z8, I pull out of the D750. That's good to know. Thanks, man. Hey, Mike, I got a question for you, bro, because I know you shoot Z9 Z8 at concerts. How do you deal with this banding issue? Is it an issue for you? Is it an issue for you? Like, because I know when I shoot DSLR, just like Albert says, actually, Mike, actually, you were the one asking the question. Sorry. Yeah, so you deal with that, huh, Mike? Sorry, guys, I got a little confused. This is my first time doing this, so Mike was the one asking the question. Okay, Mike, so you do carry around the D750. So is there a way you can set up? Because I don't really, I get nervous at shows, especially when it's like I don't really screw with my settings too much, like deep in within the menu at shows. The only reason is because I do this beforehand, but while shooting, and if there's some issues going on with banding, I know there's some settings you can mess around in camera where you could dial the frequency. Like, let's say you're getting that weird kind of thing going on. That's more for video, but is there a setting in the camera that eliminates some of that banding that we get from shooting mirrorless cameras? But that's good that you carry your DSLR still with you. I mean, that's awesome, and that's true. You don't get none of those issues with DSLRs. You do not get any of those issues with DSLRs, and that's why I always carry a DSLR with me. It's an issue when venues use cheaper LEDs that cross each other. If banding happens, use can lower your shutter speed to get it rid of it. Yeah, that's what I do. But then sometimes when you lower your shutter speed, it the photos are not as sharp. People are always moving, so yeah, you're gonna have to balance it out, guys. You're gonna have to balance things out and just sometimes go with your gut, whatever looks good. But I don't have issues with DSLRs. That's why I never get rid of my DSLRs. That's why I'm always looking for the good deals. D6, I want a D6. Some say, why are you going to get a D6 if the D5 is virtually the same camera? You have the D5, why get a D6? Well, it has some updated features and it's a newer version of a D5. It's the last camera. The drunk wedding photographer will say this about film cameras. The latest camera is, what was it, the F6? But he still shoots, I think, the F5. But just to have that latest camera, you know that there's not going to be any more DSLRs out there anymore. And, I'd like to have a D6 in my collection. The motion blur could be an issue. Yeah, when you lower your shutter speed, it can be an issue. Mike, I got a question for you, buddy. What are you at usually in shutter speed wise? Like usually when you're shooting, and a lot of these concerts, they're very similar in lighting, right? So where are you usually at? Like what's your safe zone settings wise? Like where's your shutter speed usually at around when shooting concerts? Where's your ISO? Are you shooting auto ISO or are you doing everything manually? Let us know because this guy, he's awesome. Hey, Mike, by the way, how did I do, man? Talking concert photography. How did I do? I'm asking a pro. And my thing is portraits and weddings, guys. But I do shoot concerts too. I mean, you can pretty much get the hang of it. You just got to do it more and more, Know who the important players are in the industry, okay? Show them pictures. Show them pictures. They used to say no more film cameras. Now we have some models being produced. Oh, that's interesting. Which models are they? Long Rider. Most shows I'm at manual on ISO 1250, shutter 250, f2. Yeah. And that's where I said in the beginning of this live stream, I'm pretty much there where you're at. 1250, yeah, 250th of a second, f2.8 to f4. I love listening to this because what you're saying is true. Thanks, man. I've been there and done that too, bro. You can tell that I shot. I mean, I'm not just blowing smoke and mirrors here, right? Like I've shot. I've been in those environments, and I love the results I get. You're not gonna get every shot in focus. Don't be frustrated, but so that's cool. Yeah, and also one more thing I want to talk about with bands. Okay, so bands have limited budgets. Okay, there's a lot of favors you got to do. I talked to some photographer. I won't mention his name, but he does a lot of these small gigs around town in LA. Mike probably knows who this person is. But he told me, get ready to work for free. I'm like, yeah. He's like, get ready to work for free because there's no money in this thing. That's what he said. He likes concerts, he likes shooting them, but he doesn't really make money shooting concerts. So you might get that, favors being asked of you, bands saying, hey, you know what? If we make it big, we'll hire you as our, official photographer. Now, let me tell you something about that. Getting hired as an official photographer. If they get signed. You had a better chance of doing that in the 80s and 90s, especially in the 70s and 80s than now. Bands these days, the newer acts, they want exposure and they want free stuff. Okay? So be prepared to work for free and in exchange for, let's say, you using their images on your portfolio. If you're not okay with that, I don't know what to tell you because, right, Mike? Newer bands, it's hard for them to get signed. It's hard. It's the reality. It's the sad reality of things, The music industry has changed. It's not like it was before. So be prepared to work a lot for free. Let's see. Flicker feature. Yeah, I mean, some cameras have certain settings you could set for that. Man, I just like to shoot the way I know. I don't want to mess with all these little technical AI kind of things going on with the Z9, Z8. I bust out my DSLR too, like Mike, and it's hard, man. I don't want to mess something up and then having to miss the concert because I have this setting weird. Okay, fine, get used to the camera, practice at home, but still, these newer cameras can lock up sometimes. Have you ever had a mirrorless camera freeze up on you? Amar Tech Talks, what's going on, bro? Just shoot the DSLR and all your problems go away. My favorite lens, which had photos published in Forbes, was the 1DX Mark II with the 300 2.8. Well, you're shooting fashion runway, right? So it's a more controlled environment. Then concerts, man. Concerts are crazy. I'm not dragging no 300 2.8 to a concert, brother. I'm sorry. I'm not taking that lens to a damn show. Heavy, expensive. I'm not taking that. If I'm shooting somewhere where it's fashion runway, different things like that, that's different. But I'm not shooting that lens. At least he's honest from the get-go. Pentax and Leica making new film cameras. DSLRs may become fashionable again. I hope they produce more DSLRs, man. Like newer ones. Why not? Don't get rid of your F mount or EF lenses, guys. Don't get rid of those lenses. You never know, man. I don't sell those lenses. I'm actually buying more as we speak. Yeah, the new thing is handing a tech a camera to shoot during the show. Oh, like handing someone like a tech, meaning like the sound guy or the lighting guy, or the guitar tech, drum tech. I shot Dance, USA Dance Circuit from McDonald's. It was a big production in PlayStation Theater in New York City. That's cool, man. Yeah, what a camera, though, dude. What a camera. I mean, 1DX. I always had a love affair with that 1DX series cameras. I might just get me a 1DX3, too. Just because that's the last of them, 1DX3, D6, I'm all set. And I don't mind the heft. Some photographers mind the heft. I mean, I think back in the day when we used to shoot, we didn't mind all the heavy lenses and the heavy cameras. But now, have we gotten softer as photographers? Oh, it's heavy. I can't handle this anymore. I'm keeping mine and using it with the FTZ adapter for the Z50. Nice. The main reason camera companies went mirrorless is not to benefit US. It's cheaper and requires less human labor to make a mirrorless camera. It's strictly a profit margin decision. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny the fact of what mirrorless brings to the market, right? In ideal conditions, it is a great option. When I say that, I mean, you know, focus points, video. I mean, things that you wouldn't be able to do with a DSLR. There's certain things that you can do with mirrorless. Focus follow. I mean, all these focus features. In ideal conditions, these new features gives us new shape, new direction, like things that we wouldn't be able to do before, we can do with these mirrorless cameras. However, when things get crazy, when conditions get crazy, when you start dealing with banding, flicker, all these kind of different little things that happen during mirrorless, then, then we start running into problems. It's not 100% right now. So there are good things and bad things on both, I'd say. Mirrorless is the future. Embrace it. I've embraced it, brother. I've embraced it. Ever since the Z6 came out in 18, I've embraced it. But I'm not leaving my mirror DSLRs. I'm sorry, I can't. And Albert will contest to this. I can't. I just can't ditch the DSLR. You get certain looks from these cameras that you don't get from the mirrorless. Make sure you do an episode and all the topics we talked about, bro. This was definitely one of them, and I'm glad to see you carrying it on. Keep it going. Hey, bro, you're welcome to come on here. I just don't have to figure out. When I have guests on here, I have to figure out how to do it without using a third party software, streaming software. I'm using something different here. That's why you're kind of getting better quality. I can't display the text on the screen. I'm using a different setup right now, plugged into the camera, going directly to YouTube. Now, if you want to do all that, you're gonna have to hire somebody with the switcher, multi-channel switcher, getting your feed. So I have to figure out how to bring someone's feed into this as well. I have to get a switcher. I have to do something like that if I want to use this kind of setup. But if I want to do StreamYard, Restream, and all this other stuff, I'm not using any of that right now. I'm just I'm shooting directly to YouTube from this unit that I have attached to the camera. And the internet is through the iPad. So it's kind of crazy. Thanks, Amar. Thanks for the tips. As long as DSLRs still work, keep them. Oh, of course, they're going to work. 600 millimeter is kind of heavy. Oh, that's really heavy. Mirrorless can be made outside of Japan, where labor costs have gone up. Their standard of living is higher than ours. China, Thailand, Vietnam all increase their company profit. Yeah, make sure. Oops, what happened? Yeah, thanks, Amar, for the tips. Let's see. One thing most people don't talk about with shooting concerts and major events like this, burning on the sensor is very real, and I have seen people ruin their mirrorless cameras without realizing. It hasn't happened to me. Are you talking about the lasers and stuff? I'm experimenting. With the Canon software as well for streaming. So maybe might do a live stream once in a blue moon. Yeah, this is kind of cool. I did this because, to be honest, I did a live stream because I have a shoot at what time is it? 10. I have a shoot at 12 noon, and I don't have time to edit and make it all cute and putting music to this episode. I wanted to get an episode out today, but I didn't have time to do the editing. So I said, you know what? Let me do a live stream. I'll interact with the guys, everybody here, and it'll be right on YouTube right away. I guess this is the way to go from now on. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. I just got to figure out how to bring guests on here. That'd be the best way. I mean, I guess using Restream. I just hate using that third-party stuff, but I guess I'm going to have to do it. For shows that have guests on, I will have to use Restream or StreamYard, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. The Canon's over. All right, guys, I think we've been going over an hour. Hopefully these tips help you guys out and I can do it. And we had a real pro concert photographer on here solidifying my techniques in concert photography. So I'm happy about that. Mike, thank you for joining us. We have Amar Tech Talks that does fashion, models, and advertising, photography. We got all you guys in here. And I want to thank each and every one of you for contributing in the chat. Let's make this podcast grow. Focus Bokehs. This is episode number 4, and I'm very happy that it went well. We didn't have any issues with the audio, right? And we didn't have any issues with the cameras. We didn't have any issues with the internet. So I'm very happy with that. Everything went off smooth. And you guys were a lot of fun to talk to in the chat. So I want to thank each and every one of you. Like, subscribe to the channel. You know, I sent YouTube an email yesterday. I sent them an email because I got some emails and some comments from viewers saying, hey, man, you should be getting more views and comments on videos. And I noticed that the views are just not there, the number of views. So I was thinking to myself, is it because YouTube and Google saw me wearing a MAGA hat and decided they're going to, limit my reach? And then I started thinking, is that the reason why? Because, look, I see all these videos. I see all these guys doing YouTube. And they get thousands and thousands of views, and their stuff is okay. It's not like, oh, man, I got to watch this video. No, but I mean, they're getting thousands upon hundreds of thousands of views, while my shit's getting like hundreds now. I used to get more views. So I'm thinking to myself, is it because I was wearing a MAGA hat on one of my videos and I talk about Trump? They decided to restrict my reach? If that's the case, man, that's bullshit. Because that's probably what's going on here. I'm beginning to think that my reach is restricted. I'm beginning to think my reach is restricted, and that's not cool, man. I've been working my ass off on the YouTube for years now. For them to do something like this, if true, I got to really investigate what's going on, because I don't believe that my content does not get viewed that much. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that. You get 16, 17,000 subscribers, but you get like what are we at right now? 13 viewers? Like, how is that the case? Like, how is that even possible? They don't push the shit out. Sure, did I make a mistake bringing up politics? I don't know. I'm just being myself, bro. But I mean, this is messed up, man. This is why we have to rely on these platforms, and it just sucks sometimes. So, like I said, man, share this out. Let's get this thing going. Subscribe. I don't get on you for your politics, guys. If you like somebody else, if you think that the GOP or the Republicans are trash, I don't care if you think that way. You're still going to be my friend. I'm still going to listen to what you're an expert on or what you bring to the community. But for those that want to go ahead and try to just say, I can't listen to you because you voted this way. And by the way, guys, I'm not 100% agreeing on what's going on with the new administration. Trump is not my uncle. He's not my cousin. I wish he was. But I don't get any benefit from talking about it right now. I mean, there are certain things that the administration is doing that I don't agree with. Oh, so I'm not 100%. I'm a common sense guy. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I certainly don't like to see men and women sports. I mean, that's just common sense. I don't want to see drag queen shows, 10-year-olds attending that. I don't want to see shit like that. I want to see common sense, God-fearing, just family-oriented shit. And I'm a United States citizen, came in here legally, did all the waiting in line, did all the process, And I just like to see safety on the streets, crime and punishment, real justice. Like, what's up with that? Is that wrong to do that? Do what makes sense to you. I will. No, I just find it funny, man, because I don't believe that 17,000 subs and you only get freaking 11 people on here. I just don't. How is that even freaking possible, bro? How is that even freaking possible? Like, it just doesn't make sense, bro. It just doesn't make sense. You know, and then it's not the only reason. I mean, you see viewers go down, like the viewership. It makes you think that, like, what are we doing here? Spinning our freaking wheels? That's why, guys, share this out, like the video, and I wear my emotions on my sleeve, guys. I don't hide anything out. I'm not scared of anybody, or I'm not scared of offending anybody. If they're at fault for something, I'll call you out. I'm not afraid of being politically correct. Like, I'm not politically correct. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm not afraid of sponsorships leaving because there's no sponsorships. I don't make money on this thing. So I can say fuck you if I want. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, what's going on here? Anyway, I'll leave you with that. Hopefully, you guys don't look at someone's channel just because they think it's a different way and their certain ideology that you stop watching. And that's just wrong, guys. I think that's just childish. I think that's stupid. I think that's just petty. I think just grow a backbone and accept that not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody thinks like the mainstream media wants you to think. The mainstream media wants you to follow this like sheep. You got to think a certain way. If you don't think that way, then you're just an outcast. We don't want you, Screw it. Well, I'm going to be my way, bro. I'm out, bro. Just took a break. All right, guys. Anyway, got into my own little tangent here at the end. Drunk wedding photographer, mega. Yeah. Man. Anyway, guys. Yeah, it's immature and ignorance. That's all. That's all I have to say. I mean, look, it's no secret that most of the the photo industry are left-leaning liberals, and that's fine with me. I'm not singling you out if you are. That's just the way it is. But there's room for everybody on the table. There's room for everybody. There's a seat for everybody in this table. I don't care if you think a certain way. It doesn't matter your skin color. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter if you talk with an accent or it doesn't matter, man. If you're a good guy, good photographer, you'll have a seat at the table, man. And I want you to have different views and opinions. This is what it's all about. Conversation is what it's all about. I want to disagree with you. I want to have conversation with you. Imagine life with somebody that agrees with everything you say. I don't want that. I don't want yes men around me. Yes man, yes man. I don't want that around me. I want diversity. I want people that are competent. They know what they're doing, merit, and let's have a conversation, guys. We're running away from having our own thoughts, our own opinions, and that's not right. All right, guys. All right, we're turning this into a political thing, but and why run away from that? Oh, we're not going to talk politics. Why? What's wrong with What's wrong with talking What's wrong with talking politics? There's nothing wrong with that. We all live in a society where we follow the laws and things we do, and policy affects laws, which affects us. So why not talk about it? I don't know. I just don't understand some of this mindset that, oh, you're talking politics, I'm out of here. Whatever, bro. So I like how people assume I'm left wing just because I'm Mexican. And even if you were, brother, I'm not singling you out. To me, I'm a common sense thinker, guys. If the left have a lot of common sense, then I'll probably be on the left. If the right has common sense, I'll be on the right. I'm more of like the middle kind of no wars guy. Everybody live in the peace. Yeah, I'm a capitalist. I believe in that. I come from a communist country, so I believe in capitalism. I believe that people should get ahead in the work they do and the effort they put in. All right, guys. Anyway, I talked too much. Thanks. I think I went over an hour. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next episode. We'll see you Monday. So Monday through Thursday is Focus Bokehs. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and no podcast on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But we'll see you guys Monday. Have a great weekend. Have a great time. Shoot. Have fun. Use your cameras and just rock and roll. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. This is Vahagraphy. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. We'll see you soon. Thanks.